Once upon a time, there was a curious boy who loved to explore. His name was Edward. He looked like an ordinary boy, but his heart was full of adventure. One morning, Edward found an old compass in a wooden box. This compass was special. The needle moved only when a real adventure was near. That day, the compass started to turn. It pointed to the deep forest. Edward quickly packed his bag, a magnifying glass, a flashlight, a notebook, some snacks, and his courage. Then he left the house quietly and walked to the forest. The sun was shining between the trees like golden light. The forest felt alive. Trees were tall, paths were hidden, but the compass showed the way. Soon, Edward saw his first adventure, a big round stone gate with many turning stones. Each stone had a symbol. Only the right stones opened the way. Edward looked at his notebook and found clues. He stepped on the right stones and passed the gate. Next, he saw a tunnel of butterflies. They flew in the air and made a light path. The colors changed and shadows moved. At the end of the tunnel, there was an open space, and in the middle, a giant clock. But the clock was not moving. Everything around it was still. Birds stopped in the air. Leaves didn't fall. Edward saw the truth. Time had stopped here. This was not a normal forest. This was the forest of lost time. And if time didn't move again, the forest would sleep forever. The clock had 3 missing pieces. Edward looked at his compass again. The needle showed 3 new directions. He understood. He had to find the 3 pieces to start the clock again. For the first piece, he walked to the light maze. The place was full of big mirrors. If the light went the wrong way, the path disappeared. Edward turned the mirrors slowly. The light reached the center. A stone opened, and the first piece came out. The second piece was at the top of a spiral tree. Each branch went in a different way. Some moved, some didn't. Edward climbed carefully. At the top, he saw the second piece turning in the wind. He took it, but the third piece was the big adventure. The compass showed a dark cave. Inside, it was very quiet. The walls were smooth like time. At the end of the cave, there was a lake. The water looked like glass. In the middle, the last piece was on a stone platform. To reach it, Edward had to ride a magic boat. The boat moved by itself in zigzags. Edward sat in the boat. It went faster and faster. The water rose. Edward held on tight. He was brave. He reached the platform and got the last piece. Then the boat took him back. Edward now had all 3 pieces. He returned to the forest and put them in the clock. At first, it was quiet. Then tick-tock, tick-tock, the clock started to move. The forest woke up. Birds sang, rivers ran, trees moved in the wind. Time was alive again. Edward saw golden words near the clock. Only a brave heart can start time again. The compass now showed the way home. But Edward knew something. This was just the beginning. Because there were still many secrets, many adventures waiting in the world.